Hi everyone, I'm Grandmaster Erwin Lamy, and in this video of WatchCity.com I'd like to show you one of the key moments that brought Vishy Anand his victory in the candidates tournament, which has just finished in Khanty-Mansiysk. It's his game against Shahryar Mamedyarov, the strong, dynamic Azeri player, and we enter the game on move 16 when black can be pretty satisfied with the way things have been going after the opening. His bishop is well placed on b4. The bishop is well placed on h5. His structure is pretty fine, and on the other hand, white also doesn't have to despair, and it doesn't look like there's much wrong with white's position either. He has the opportunity to perhaps in the future start some kingside offensive with his pawns. So on the surface it all looks pretty just like a calm strategic fight. We will see that appearances can be deceiving. Anand played king h8. This is a very useful move because if white wants to go f4, then he's ready to play f6 and challenge that center immediately. Also, after a subsequent f6, the bishop might be able to drop back at some point. The f7 square basically becomes available for another piece, and yeah, the king is simply much better placed on h8. Mamedyarov played e5, so he's basically declaring his intentions to push in the center. Anand plays rook e8, f4, and again, it doesn't look so bad for black, but the reason why I'm showing you this example is because of the way Anand deals with this particular position, how he very quickly extinguishes all white's play. First of all, f6. This is already quite unpleasant for white because it's not easy to meet this move. For example, e6 now would run into knight b6, and that suddenly leaves the queen on c4 a little bit embarrassed. For example, if we remove the queen, then simply e6 will be hanging, and if we take the knight, then if the queen takes b6, king h1, well, there are many moves, but I guess easiest is maybe queen e3. And now we want either to take the pawn on e6 or to play bishop e2, which threatens both the queen and rook. So this is definitely not what white is after. So it means that instead of keeping this mighty center alive, white was forced to take on f6, and after knight takes f6, well, it already doesn't look as mighty as it was before. Basically, right now you could even say that if white had the choice, he would rather have his pawn back on f2. Bishop f3 is what was played, and that makes sense because already in this position the threat of bishop e2 was rather unpleasant and not easy to meet. For example, rook e1 is not possible because the bishop is covering that square, and yeah, white had to deal with this threat somehow, so he decided on bishop f3. Another way to deal with the threat was rook f2, but then rook e7 is rather annoying because here this threatens bishop f7. So that's no good either. As I said, he chose for bishop f3, and after bishop takes f3, rook takes f3, rook e4, it already transpires that white's position is somewhat unpleasant. The bishop is pinned now rather unpleasantly by the rook. Knight on b3 is a bit misplaced. Nothing decisive, of course, but white is definitely a bit worse. Rook e3 makes sense because, of course, we would like to expel this very active rook from e4. Rook takes e3, bishop takes e3, queen e8. Not only attacking the bishop, because that's a threat that Mamedyarov will surely be able to parry, but he is also looking at h5 and then the possible knight g4 to start attacking that king. because with all those pawn moves made in front of the king's position has been severely weakened. Mamedov played bishop b6, and this was a big mistake, and now it really goes fast. It already says enough that on the next move, Mamedov decided to bring his bishop back to d4, so it would have been wiser to do so immediately. The point is that with the bishop on d4, you sometimes have the option of exchanging this knight on f6, and so when the queen comes to h5, black would be able to stop this move knight g4 by actually taking it. So bishop b6, definitely a big mistake. Queen h5, bishop d4, and rook e8. And bishop d4, yeah, as I said, it's simply too late. And the reason why I chose this example is because it shows how how Vishy used to be. This is how we knew him. He is fast, he's precise, and he's lethal. And he's showing that in this game. When you give him a small chance, he's taking it. And after rook e8, it already starts to be incredibly unpleasant. The rook is ready to enter on e2, the knight is ready to jump to g4, and that king is feeling very, very bad. Mamedov played rook f1, knight g4, queen c2. And this doesn't look right, does it? That queen is covering h2, and that means that if black manages to distract that queen, he will be in serious trouble. And there's no surprise that with all white's pieces tied up like that, there's a tactical blow here which Vishy immediately spotted. c6, c5. Now, naturally, if you move the bishop to c3, there's knight d3 with a double attack on c2 and f1. If you move the bishop to f2, then obviously the queen is no longer protecting h2, and simply queen takes h2 would be mate. So it means that the only move that's left is to take this pawn on c5, and that's what Mamedov did. He played knight takes c5, but now Vishy had prepared rook c8. And you see that simply white is losing the knight because of all these pins. He can no longer hold his position together. Mamedov played rook d1, bishop takes c5, bishop takes c5. And here it's never too late to make a mistake, of course. But Vishy doesn't do that. He doesn't blunder rook takes c5, rook d8, of course, which would be a embarrassing background mate. But after h6, there's really nothing that that white can do. He tried king h1, but after making this move, he probably saw that knight d3 is a very pretty move that immediately decides the game, basically. Bishop takes e3 obviously loses the queen, and soon will be mate too. And well, basically there is no other move. Next move, if the queen moves, the rook on d1 will fall. Let's say queen c1. Actually, it's also mate. It's everything. It's completely lost, and Mamedov justifiably resigned. So a very good example of Vishy Anand taking his chances in this candidates tournament and showing his lethal skills. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't go anywhere. Stay on chesscity.com, the best place to learn chess.